Is that still happening? Meaning that why are all the black kids sitting together in the cafeteria? They ask that, and then they say, are things getting better? A quick glance across the cafeteria in the average racially mixed U.S. high school or college will tell you that the answer to the first question is usually yes. What, if anything, does that tell us about the answer to the second question? Are things getting better? And what does better look like? That is a more complicated question. What has changed for the better or for worse in the last 20 years? What is the implication of how we understand ourselves and each other in reference to our racial identities? And if we are dissatisfied with the way things are, what can we do to change it? Now, almost 2 decades into the 21st century, it seems like we are still struggling with what W.E.B. Du Bois identified in 1906 as the problem of the color line.
Mainly like Latino people, or Hispanic.
At lunch, I normally am sitting with my brother and a few other people that are there every once in a while. So I never really have like a constant group of people sitting with me at lunch. No, it's my brother though.
I'm Sky, Juliana, Julia, other people that I occasionally forget their names.
Here, white people.
I say honestly, anybody.
The amount of black friends that I have personally, I would say 2 to 3.
Like an actual number? Like, actual friends, probably 10. Not 10. Maybe I'll walled out with 10.
Alright, before I came here, like 5. Anika, Elton, Nikalia, Derek, and Derek.
Like, honestly, at school, yes, I do change like some like the language and aspects of me like speaking. Like say I'm talking to Marshall, like I'll be like, oh, so how's your day? You know, I ask him how his day's going, how his classes. But if I was talking to one of my Latinx friends, I'll be like, yo, so did you see this? Did you see that? You know, but it's not only because of that, but it's just like I'm not as close to them as I would want to be. And it's not their fault. It's not my fault. It's just like how things happen in school.
I would say that I wouldn't have like the same conversations with white people than I do with my friends, just because of the fact that they would take offense to certain things that I would say to my friends who wouldn't take offense to that.
But it's just hard to relate to white people sometimes, most of the time.
We're not really exposed to being around white people all the time, so it's like we don't have the choice to say we don't want to be around them, or we don't want to like sit with them or things like that. It's just like we're not exposed to have that option.
I need Latinx with each other and black with black and white with white. Just mainly just, I don't know, it's more like comfort, like the comfort. Like, you know how we have a comfort zone and uncomfort zone. But they mainly feel comfortable with their race, you know, their identity, what they feel like it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I know there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to, like, they would want everybody like mixed and stuff, but it just happens like that. Like society already shifted things as in like you're this group. Like it started from 1866 when they did all the 13th Amendment, all this going on, to just, you know, that's the way things happen. And it's, you know, and I know it's not what people would want to see it as, but it's just how things are.
It's easier for them to like start up a conversation or like be able to create that relationship with someone who has the same identities as them, because they might go through the same struggles as them based off of, you know, their like the systems of oppression that those identities face.
I mean, I think it makes sense, like, if you were raised around, like, black people, like, you get used to hanging around black people, but, like, that wasn't how it was at home. Here, I feel like it is mostly black kids sitting with black kids, but, like, from where I was, it wasn't all the white kids sitting together, it wasn't all the Ecuadorian kids sitting together. I think it's just more based on your environment rather than, like, black people are naturally more comfortable around black people, white people are naturally more comfortable around white people, if that makes sense.
I think it's not something that happens intentionally. I think it's something that kind of they learned that, and they kind of just stick with the people that they feel like they can connect with. So it's kind of, and no one ever really intentionally splits into groups. It's kind of, they just happens. People kind of just move to others, and they kind of almost segregate themselves among their, like, that class, thinking they're supposed to be with them. So they kind of just split themselves up with not knowing, like, just because it's so well implanted in their mind, they feel like this is what it's supposed to be.
I mean, it doesn't hurt anyone. So I mean, like, if someone came up to us or something, like they were white or whatever, we would have been like, oh, get away or something like that. But like, we just, I mean,
We're indifferent to it.
yeah, like it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, we exclude them because they're white or whatever. We just like, but this is just our group of friends, you know. Like we all have something in common, so we click. And that's really it.
It's not bad. I mean, it's neutral. Like, it's good. It can be bad, but it's good. I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, they're having fun. Like, they're enjoying themselves. So why mess it up?
I think I don't want to say it's like it's bad if you do it. You're bad if you do it. It's just it's not something you shouldn't feel like you shouldn't do that. It's something that you shouldn't feel like, oh, this has to be. It's something that there shouldn't really be there at all, because people should be freely, like, available, kind of, or just feel like they're allowed to talk to others from different groups of people and not feel like they need to be split into their own groups.
Why do all the black kids sit together in the cafeteria, right? That's Beverly Tatum's book. I had the opportunity, which is beautiful, to have Beverly Tatum as a professor at Mount Holyoke. And also had the opportunity to work with her for a good 2 years to facilitate the first race dialogue at Mount Holyoke. And when I met her, the first thing I did was get her book, right? And start reading it and see what that was about. So what I took from that, as far as why do all the black kids sit together in the cafeteria, definitely I would agree with other students as to say that a big part of that is exploring their own identity. And so how I see that happening, it's like, for example, you kind of, first it's like visual, what you see, right? And like, oh, okay, they look like me, or maybe they're like me, or, you know, they like the same music as I do, or it even can be like, if I've got a mix, so there's part African, there's part white in me, there's, you know, so it's like, you know, I'll look and I'll just kind of gravitate, and I think this is what happens with identity. You gravitate towards the people that either look most like you or you feel are most like you, and then you kind of go in, you sit, and so that may look like all of the same race as well, right? And because that's like maybe the first visual thing you're looking at, right? So you go and you kind of chill and you get to know the people and you hang out with them for a while, and you're trying to find pieces of your own identity through them. You know, hey, is that, you know, well, they look like me now. Is this the same like me? Or, you know, sometimes you get caught up in realizing that, hey, that's not like me at all. That's not what it's about, right? And then there's times that you just gravitate towards a group of people, not just because of race, but also because, hey, oh, I love to skateboard, let's say. No, those are skateboarders, so I'm going to go hang out with the skateboarders, you know, because that's a love I have. And that's where you kind of see a mixture of race, you know. But in most cases, it is, I've noticed that it's about visual, looking at somebody that might look like you, be like you, culturally like you, and that's what you gravitate towards. And that's basically what part of what Beverly Tatum is saying when she talks about why do all the black kids sit in the cafeteria together. I think it's a process, a good thing or a bad thing. It can be perceived as a bad thing, right? When people are saying, oh, well, they're like dividing, right? But as far as the individual exploring their identity, I feel like it's a good thing, because you're getting a sense of who you are, and not, like I said before, not all the time. There will be times that you realize, that's not the reason, because we all look alike, or we all, wow, you actually you like different music than I do, or so you're exploring and you're kind of noticing that it's not all about what you really thought to begin with. So there can be a balance with that, right? It's how it's perceived, and then how somebody feels when they're actually going through the process of identity, and I think it's an important process to go through. I think that there are adults that need to be accountable for things like that, to make sure that there's dialogue happening. So if, let's say, the leader of a school is looking at their cafeteria and they notice, this is always the case. That group is always together, that group is in this kind of division. Then you start giving opportunities and creating opportunities and spaces for them to build community. So you might have a mix-it-up lunch day, right? Where, okay, you're not normally going to sit at the same table as you usually do. Hey, let's mix it up. Maybe you have some discussion topics at each table. Because I feel like the more dialogue you have with people you think you're even different with, the more you find the common ground around each other. And it's about creating those spaces to bring about community building and dialogue for each other. So, people are naturally going to do that as far as gravitating towards who looks like them, who's like them. But it's up to the leaders of whatever it is, whether it's an institution, whether it's an educational institution, whatever, to actually create those spaces, to have those dialogues, so that you, while you're going through identities, that you're realizing differences as well, and what you have common across the board. Because there's always going to be commonalities. And that's what I feel is important to also focus on, and looking at what we have in common and working with that.
Thank you. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
When no one ain't around,
I feel it fade.
I think too much.
I feel it fade.
Well, ain't nobody watching.
I feel it fade.
I just fade away.
I feel it.
Fade away.